This is an extremely touchy subject because most people love Bitcoin, but I'm here to present some data to you today that might support the reason as to why Bitcoin might not be a viable purchase post 2025. Actually, matter of fact, it might not even be a viable purchase right now. And for some of you thinking to yourselves, why? Well, obviously, I'm going to present the facts for you today. Now, I'm not someone who hates Bitcoin. I just try to sit on the fence and have a very objective point of view. I'm not here to convert anyone, just give you some data, okay? So again, this isn't to offend anyone. I know Bitcoin maxis are probably down there right now saying this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, but I want to make one thing very clear. Everyone should know the good and the bad on their investments. And again, I'm not calling Bitcoin per se bad. I'm just saying that it might not be a viable purchase specifically for those people who are like myself, looking for the most gains possible in the next 10 to 20 years, okay? Next couple decades. So let me expand a little bit on what I'm talking about. What a crazy damn thing to say from this crazy guy called No BS Crypto, right? But yes, Bitcoin might not be the best buy for you, again, now or after the 2025 bull run. But Bitcoin is the father of crypto. You know, how could you even say that, Kyron? Well, again, let me break it down for you today. Open your mind, guys. Stop being so narrow-minded because it definitely is a very typical thing in the crypto space. Tribalism is horrible, right? So it's simple. Here's 4 things. I want to touch on this more as we go on. Number one, this is besides the point, and I get it, right? I don't want to touch on this. This is a very touchy and like gray area, so I'm not going to really elaborate more than what this just says here, but no one really knows who Satoshi is, and that magic wallet holds more than around 1 million BTC. So it is something to think about for everyone that does complain to me, hey, Hedera has 20 or 30% of their tokens in their treasury, or X project has 20% of the team. Guys, at least you know who the team is on those projects, therefore reputation is on the line, not just for individuals, but for whole entire Web2 companies. But Bitcoin is over here with an anonymous owner that holds 1 million damn tokens. And also, we have people like Gary Gensler out here saying Satoshi is a she. Now, that is kind of typical in like a lot of, scientific papers calling authors she, or at least hypothetical examples she, fair enough. But no one knows who this is, and they hold 1 million tokens, and they're smart enough, I am telling you right now, to probably hold until the time is right if they wanted to sell at all. Just throwing it out there, not using this as an attack vector, just stating the facts. Number 2, as we get closer to look at shortly, many people see Bitcoin/crypto as a way out of the looming global tyranny/oppressive financial systems, yet they don't have enough capital to successfully make a transformation or transition into oppression/self-sovereign, or at least be able to move away and become their own sort of individual entity that is able to do whatever they want, buy whatever they want, not have to kind of conform to society, which, let's face it, isn't looking too good right now. And unfortunately, a lot of people believe that Bitcoin is that way out. And I'm telling you right now, again, you don't have to listen to me if you don't want to, there are other projects that will benefit you greatly, that will offer as good as solutions to Bitcoin that will give you more returns, or at least not solutions per se, but more so safety net, sort of security with higher returns. So therefore, it will allow you to explode. Bitcoin is not gonna 100x in the next couple years, okay? Number 3, Bitcoin is used in most cases, aside from maxis who just love to buy it, as a hedge against volatility or a safety net per se, which is pretty much why everyone is told to buy some BTC, right? This actually isn't 100% true, as many people forego many important factors. And number 4, Bitcoin is extremely decentralized, therefore no one can take it away from us. This is a very, very common angle of support in terms of like why everyone should own Bitcoin, because it's decentralized, but they're not taking the very centralized consensus into consideration. Decentralization has many aspects to it. Yes, Bitcoin might be very decentralized in terms of geographical locations and number of nodes, but the thing that actually secures a network is one of the most centralized there is. Now, I want to say, very, very important for everyone before we continue, Bitcoin might not be the best choice post-2025, specifically for those who want to make the most amount of money in the safest possible way. Let me tell you why, okay? Hang in with me before you start commenting down below. First of all, let's get one thing straight. Bitcoin is likely a very good long-term purchase for those who want to speculate on a distributed like digital gold system, likely netting themselves some pretty good returns along the way, right? So let's just say Bitcoin reaches $1 million in 2035, and the average investor buys 1 BTC now at like $30,000. Well, that's a 33x over 12 years. 30K is now 990,000, a very good return on investment, especially compared to when we're talking about like traditional markets. That is a very, very, very good return on investment, I must say, but we're in crypto for a little bit more. At least I can generalize here, okay? So this is obviously, in this case, optimized for those who want capital preservation. I know, what a crypto thing for me to say, 33x over 12 years as preservation. I get it. But technically, it isn't as much generation as what we can find. Again, I'm kind of generalizing who's listening right now. Now, if you already have $1 million to speculate on BTC, a 33x over 12 years is quite impressive, right? Because then you have $33 million, therefore you can do a whole heap more. But versus someone like you or I that might only be able to, put 5K into Bitcoin to speculate, well, then we only have 165,000 after 12 years. Okay, well, some of you might say, guys, or Kyron, well, Bitcoin's going to be adopted everywhere. It's going to be the people's currency. Everyone's going to, use it. Your merchants are going to allow it, so on and so forth. So you may as well buy it now and hold it for the long term. Okay, although I still might say it's smarter to actually buy altcoins with a higher return potential than accumulate Bitcoin when it does fall down, when you have more capital to put into Bitcoin rather than just 5K. Maybe you can buy a couple of Bitcoin in that case, okay? So I want to touch more on this particular topic, number 2 specifically here, and say that, guys, if we have a look over here, this is Bitcoin's chart, right? So we've got multiple bull runs over here, and all I want to kind of mention to you is that we're actually seeing a rapid decrease in the explosive power. Back here, from 2012 to 2013, this is from the halving in green to the peak of the Bitcoin's price of the bull run. Over here in black, 90x initially, okay, it's dropped into a 27x. We've lost 3x explosive power. And then from 2017 to 2021, the more recent bull run, we've gone from a 27x from, again, the halving to the top down to a 7x. We've lost 4x explosive power. You see a theme going on here, right? We've gone from a 3x to a 4x negative explosive power. So what's next? Is it negative 5x? And if so, it's going to completely depend on what the price of Bitcoin is in the halving. So, you might buy one Bitcoin today for $29,000. Well, what's your return on investment in 2025? Again, we are looking plus 2025 here, so it definitely could get worse if we continue this trend. We'll have to see as time progresses, but I digress, right? What happens in, April in the halving, okay? Well, for Bitcoin to follow this trend, again, if you're going to lose 5x explosive power, well, we'll come to about a 1.4x from the time of the halving to the bull run. So if Bitcoin's going to hit 105,000, again, contingent on the fact that we follow this trend, and I'm not going to lie to you guys, Bitcoin has pretty much been following very scary trends in terms of the halving to the top of the bull run and also the bear market lengths. Well, what we'll find is the halving has to get to $75,000 for Bitcoin to reach 105,000 in the bull run. Who knows? I might eat my words. I might be 100% correct on this. Who knows? I'm not saying I'm correct at all. All I'm saying is what's going to happen in 2030. Yes, we might have some more enterprise demand, some real big money come into Bitcoin, but I do want to say the chances that you're going to have a 20, 30, 40, 50, 100x is extremely unlikely, if not impossible. So touching back onto number 2 point over here, people see it as a way out of the oppressive financial system. And again, I do disagree. You can, of course, use the angle of, well, Kyron, you buy BTC to hold for the long term because it's it's your pretty much superannuation fund, your 401k, or essentially it's some sort of vehicle that will allow you to have some sort of strong purchasing power and beat inflation. Sure, but as we'll touch on in a second, there actually are alternative altcoins you can do and use that will grow in terms of time, right? They'll definitely get more and more impressive and have more gains, yet yield the sort of same safety returns as well, okay? So yeah, again, you might buy Bitcoin for 21K today, sell at 105K in 2030. Even if you sell at, let's just say 300K, that's not gonna happen, but let's just say it does, that's a 10X. Still quite impressive, but definitely not as strong as some of the other alternatives. And let me touch on some of those. So step number 3, right? People say, hey, Kyron, you should own Bitcoin. And a lot of people say, a lot of influencers point out 50% of your portfolio because it does 3 different things. 1, it's safe. 2, it's got decent gains, especially if you diversify like I have in this portfolio here. And it hedges against volatility, right? This actually is, as much as it sounds like I'm nagging on this, it is a very, very strong portfolio. I'm not going to argue everyone's portfolio should suit their personal needs. I'm not saying I've got a one size fits all for everyone. However, for someone specifically looking for a sizable return in 2025, this is, again, speaking to myself here, this actually isn't better than something, the large BTC percentage, again, in this case, like 50%, maybe 40%, for large caps that will perform extremely well in 2030. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So in this case, let's just say I want to keep all the maxis happy and everyone that reckons you should own some Bitcoin. I'll keep all those traditional people happy and say, let's keep Bitcoin in the portfolio here. Let's keep it at 20%. Well, we might then take the additional 30% here and buy more large caps, specifically large caps, but it has to be very, very specific large caps at that, right? So in my opinion, again, for ROI's sake and safety's sake, it is a better portfolio. Very much subjective. I want to point that out as well. In my opinion, still safe, excellent gains to be had, and does hedge against long-term volatility. So it does hinge on what altcoins you buy. It's important to buy utility-heavy altcoins with real Web 2 utility, even happening right now, that focuses on the future via sustainability. People give me crap all the time for finding projects that are heavy into sustainability, ESG, environment, right? And people laugh at me for that. They go, it's not a big thing to worry about. I'm telling you right now, all these big utility-heavy cryptocurrencies, like the one we'll speak about in a second, they are all heavy into promoting sustainability, right? And there's a reason for that, okay? They can see what's happening, they can see the pivot, and they're already there. And they have massive teams behind them. They're very, very smart in the know teams. This is writing on the damn walls, okay? So again, there is the writing on the walls there. Now, these networks are involved with many large corporations and are actively solving a huge issue within legacy systems and workflows. Possibly the most important point here. They're actually out there in the real world providing adequate solutions using blockchain technology, thanks to, DLTs, okay? So yes, they do go against the crypto ethos of decentralization. A lot of you guys who follow this and uphold this ethos, this efficacy, you might come onto a bit of problems with these projects. That is fair enough, okay? So again, you might not like these, but in my opinion, Hedera, Quant, Zinfin or XDC, Stellar, Ripple, VeChain, Casper, these sort of networks are going to only grow with time. And I just want to say something for the record. You might see that and go, well, Kyron, they're at like a 700 million market cap, right up to like a few billion, or, XDC's case, or, in terms of XRP's case, it's like, whatever, $20 billion. And I want to say the chance of these networks calling it quits or dying is quite low, because essentially they are again run by people who are in the charge of massive corporations, or at least they're already intertangled, right? They're intertwined with extremely large Web 2 enterprises. They're not just going to go bye-bye one day, okay? They're here for the long run, and they are utility projects. Why I'm specifically looking at these projects is because they're going to grow with time. They're so infant and juvenile right now. We have no idea of the capacity that they're going to be in the next bull run or the next bull runs, okay? And also, them being more volatile than Bitcoin shouldn't really be an issue for us. Why? Well, I want to revert to a conversation I had with one of my subscribers, Ryan. Shout out to you, Ryan. I'm not calling you out here individually. I just want to bring up this point, is that he kind of, messaged me the other day, and he's like freaking out about HBAR and a few other projects because they were like fluctuating really badly. I said, Ryan, we're looking to, sell our projects, or at least our goal when buying these projects was to 2025 and beyond. So don't look at the current timeframes and this choppiness as an indication of their quality, or, oh my God, I'm down 20% today. Who gives a crap? Who honestly cares? Because you have purchased for a specific time frame. Now, if you're a trader, looking to scalp trade on the daily or the hourly, yes, that is a very big issue. If you're a swing trader looking to get out one day and get in one day, out the next day, again, this is going to impact you, sure, but we're not doing that. You shouldn't even bother about it. You're investing for a certain time period. You should be looking for that time period fundamentally, okay? And so I wanted to point this out. They might be more choppy than Bitcoin in the short term, but I'm telling you guys, the long term, that goal is what we need to have in mind. Now, number 4 here is the whole topic of Bitcoin being decentralized. And I want to specifically touch on this coming from the angle of Bitcoin has to be decentralized as a supporting vector as to why this is a quality project for you in terms of holding it in your portfolio. Again, I'm not trying to disincentivize you from holding Bitcoin, but I want to say, for those who are saying everyone should own Bitcoin, it's the most decentralized network out there, well, it's not. It's probably one of the most centralized networks fundamentally, okay? Why? Yes, nodes are decentralized. There is nodes spread across the world. That's a given. There's 20,000, I think there is at this point, right? There's a lot. But the very thing that's the most important part of the network, its security, is extremely centralized. 51% of the hash power is needed to overthrow the network. Now, it's a little more complicated than that, but that's more or less the gist of it. And right now, 3 entities own 61.3% of the hash rate. It is growing. I couldn't believe it when I looked at this again today. It's unbelievable, right? So if they collude, if they came together, yes, they could overthrow the network. I'm pretty sure right now my math isn't wrong, but basically 2 of them could at this point, right? Almost. So yes, it is extremely scary to look at. And I want to give the analogy for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about here. I've been recently watching a TV show called Lost, and this kind of came to mind straight away. Let me tell you what I'm talking about. It is like, in this case, living on a deserted island and starting a new community from scratch, right? Everyone owns their own stuff. It's a plane crash, new island. Everyone starts off equal, okay? Everyone has their own food, everyone has their own shelter, everyone has survived on their own, but then all of a sudden, 3 people out of this whole group of like 100 people say, hey, we have guns. At any point in time, they can start pointing the gun at people and say, hey, do this for me, or I need this from you, give it to me now. that's essentially what we're doing here. It's essentially a hostage situation waiting to happen. Now, I'm not saying it ever will. I'm just, again, reiterating the point of, for those who are like, Bitcoin is a staple in everyone's diet because it's the most decentralized network there is, they're wrong, okay? And again, this might not be the be all and end all. You might still love Bitcoin. I'm not saying you shouldn't hold Bitcoin. Matter of fact, after the bull run, I'm going to do just this. I'm going to probably sell some of my altcoins and buy some Bitcoin, maybe 1 or 2 Bitcoin, to hold for the very, very long term, to speculate into this new globally accepted money. But for those looking for it, for a way into a new life to escape the tyranny, well, you're probably not making a very good decision. At least in my opinion. Again, as long as you're starting off with a very, very low amount of cash. Okay, guys? So please, no hate. Well, you can do whatever you want to do, your own person. But I do definitely think for those of you who needed to hear this, that's why I'm here. Okay, so thanks so much for watching, guys. Appreciate every single one of you. I'll talk to you all soon. Take care. Bye.